Hey, I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, the voice of rural America, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Sorry it took us a minute to come back. Carla and I were having a discussion about coffee. So Carla had not left the studio. We were having a little discussion about coffee. So let's go with this. Russia. And Don Trump Jr. Mark Warner from Virginia. I mean, this is an absolute disgrace, these people are. Mark Warner from Virginia. Sam, let's go to that video and start with that before we get into the other stuff. Let's start with the video. This is Mark Warner from Virginia yesterday concerning Donald Trump Jr.
Do you believe that this meeting gives the appearance of collusion?
I believe it's remarkable that this meeting, one, was not reported beforehand, that two, this is again the first time the public has seen clear evidence of at least an attempt by the Trump campaign to obtain information, and again, in this case, from a possible foreign agent that would interfere with the Hillary Clinton campaign efforts. This is, again, kind of the underlying premise that has been raised throughout this whole investigation. And we've got more information to garner.
Do you expect to speak with Jared Kushner in the coming weeks?
Yeah, as has been indicated before, I think the chairman indicated this, that Mr. Kushner has volunteered to testify. I think it's appropriate that we obtain all the appropriate documents first, because, again, we want to make sure that we're able to ask the right questions so that we don't have, again, this constant pattern of...
Okay, folks, Mark Warner, meet with a foreign agent. Let's put up the picture of a meeting with Russian lawyer, all four of them there, okay? So what we know, and I think it's the name of it, meeting with Russian lawyer. We have Don Trump. I didn't send you that. Okay. Then let's go ahead and go with Natalia. I can't do her last name. We tried that earlier. This is the foreign agent that Mark Warner is referring to, the senator from Virginia. The foreign agent, Natalia. This is the attorney. Okay, that actually has a tie to Fusion GPS. There's a tie. Now, when they say foreign agent, why doesn't Mark Warner say that they met with Natalia, a Russian attorney? Okay, they wanted to talk about adoption laws for Russian children. I can't get into those weeds right now. But why don't they talk about her connections to a Democrat, a very Democrat-friendly political operative that they collect political data against your opponent, all right? Why don't they talk about those ties? But this is a foreign agent, Mark Warner says, and the meeting, she tells... go ahead and put Mark Warner's picture up there, Senator Mark Warner. Mark Warner says this is a foreign agent, all right? And this foreign agent, let's see, he said this is the first time the public has seen clear evidence of the Trump campaign meeting with the Russians. Clear evidence. This is all they have to go on. This is one of the biggest developments so far. This is what they're saying. Biggest development. It was a 20-minute meeting. Here's the narrative they're going with. Guess what else happened in 20 to 30 minutes? What else happened? See, the Russian narrative is turned around on Democrats, okay? It is time, and collusion and obstruction has turned around, okay? It is time to find out what happened on the tarmac between Loretta Lynch, our Attorney General, and former President Bill Clinton, okay? It is time to maybe bring charges against James Comey for releasing classified documents to his friend from the FBI. It is time to find out why the DNC will not release the server for that they claim the Russians hacked. It is time to find out why they will not release the server to let the FBI go through it. It is time to find out the truth on who released the 60,000 emails from the DNC. It's time to turn this around. It's time to find out who leaked and unmasked names. So this narrative being turned around is not playing well for the Democrats. Okay? It's just not. So they say this is clear evidence of what? So they say, what else happened in 20 to 30 minutes? Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton. Because it's turning around on them. Okay? So what do they say? Oh no, they met with this Russian agent. Use the word Russian agent. Really? He says the Russian agent, 20 to 30 minutes parallels another meeting that happened. All right, so Don Trump Jr., Paul Manafort, and Don Trump Jr., Paul Manafort, and Jared Kushner, thank you, Jared Kushner, and this Natalia, they have a meeting at Trump Tower. Let's go through the statement to the New York Times, in the New York Times, of Don Trump Jr. Let's go to statement, let's go to 1. Don Jr. statement 1. And this is the statement the New York Times is running with. In my view, this is a quote, in my view, this is much ado about nothing. Late May and early June 2016, near the end of the 2016 Republican primary, was an intense, busy time for Don Jr. Now, this is his attorney released the statement. During this busy period, Robert Goldstein contacted Don Jr. in an email and suggested that people had information concerning alleged wrongdoing by the Democrat Party frontrunner Hillary Clinton in her dealings with her dealings in Russia. Let's go to number 2. In my Don Jr.'s takeaway from the communication was that someone had information potentially helpful to the campaign, and it was coming from someone he knew. Don Jr. had no knowledge as to what specific information, if any, would be discussed. Number 3, Don Jr.'s takeaway from the communication, it's the same thing, would be discussed. So, Don Jr. went to meet Natalia to find out something that she said she had something on Hillary and her dealings with the Russian government, okay? And it turned out all Natalia wanted to talk about was the adoption. So look, we're private citizens, we can't help you, and they got out of there. Folks, the New York Times has absolutely nothing here. Absolutely nothing, okay? Now, let's go to just the one that says Don Jr. It's got the New York Times in there, the one that just says Don Jr. on the... No, just go... There you go. The New York Times, Don Jr. was told in an email from Russian effort to aid campaign. Russian effort to aid campaign. Now, I don't know if the Russians were aiding this campaign, but they say they have this email. Before arranging a meeting with the Kremlin, connected Russian lawyer he believed would offer him compromising information about Hillary Clinton. All right, you cannot be a top lawyer. Everything's connected to the Kremlin in Russia. You cannot be a top lawyer in Russia anywhere that there's not a connection somewhere to the Kremlin. Sorry, folks, that's how it works. So it doesn't matter what attorney you have. If they're any good in Russia, there's a connection somewhere to the Kremlin. The Kremlin knows everything they're doing. Compromising information about Hillary Clinton. Don Trump Jr. was informed in an email that the material was part of a Russian government effort to aid his father's candidacy, according to 3 people with knowledge of the email. Let's see the email. Let's see the email and see it actually say the Russian government, and see it actually say an effort to aid his father's candidacy. Let's see if that happened. All right, that 3 people with knowledge of the email, the New York Times. Let's see the email. Bottom line. So they think they have this email out here. And Natalia there, the meeting. Let me see what else I have, because I got some things I want to come back to. I'm going to take another brief break. I'm going to set up the second part of this and get ready for the second part. But all you're hearing this morning is the Russian email from Don Trump Jr. That supposedly says, hey, I've got some people in the Russian government that want to help you. They're not going to stop, folks. They're not going to stop. I got to go back to Steve Bannon. If you think they're going to give your country back without a fight, you're badly mistaken. Sam, let's take a break while I set up another segment.
Spider-Man isn't the only hero in town. Look, there's Pizza Man with Cheesy Bites Pizza.
Thanks.
And it's 28 poppable cheese